Welcome to Pathetic, the podcast. We have a pretty interesting show for you tonight. I think the most interesting part of tonight is that you're only seeing two people. You're only seeing myself and Geoff. We are back from our cruise. We'll talk maybe a few minutes about that quickly. But Mike is AWOL. Mike is Geoff right now. We don't know legitimately where he is.
We have no idea.
No.
And that's the scary thing. It's not like we'll get a text from Mike sometimes. Yeah, I'm going to be a little late.
Yeah.
We do that too sometimes. But the fact that he's, as you guys say, Geoff, not concerned yet, but we got to figure out what the heck's going on.
Yeah, exactly. But I want to welcome everybody to the show. Listen, remember our Gmail account is patheticthepodcast@gmail.com. You can check us out on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. We have, obviously we're on Spotify. Any platform that you listen to your podcast on, we're on that. Also, we will have, I think in the upper right-hand corner here, or maybe in the middle here, we will have our Link.Tree, so you can click on that, but that'll be good. Geoff, welcome back. The two of us, we missed two shows. How you doing about that?
Man, I feel like we got to shake the cobwebs off a little bit. I'm nervous again. I'm going to be shaky with my words. But yeah, we had a great time. I got you turned on some Mai Tais, the drink, which is great. Little cinnamon in that bad boy. How about that one?
How about this? We probably drank, I'm going to say 45 Mai Tais.
Easily.
And only one night did we get the Mai Tais with cinnamon. And I want to shout out to, it was Gretel, right?
Yeah.
Gretel,
she was awesome.
Our waitress at Savor on the ship, the Norwegian Getaway. She was the one who made sure that we had the cinnamon on those. Those are awesome.
It added a whole, I didn't know what it was at first. I looked at it, I'm like, what did they put in our drink? And then when we took it, we're like, wow, this was a great addition. And the best part about the cruise was, honestly, we got no rain really up until the last day, which was a rough one. I mean, the whole boat was pretty much running to the bathroom, taking care of business because they were getting so sick. But overall, we had a great time, man. It was good to be back, but we had a blast.
It was funny. When the boat was rocking back and forth, I think, did I bring it up to you, Geoff, that day? I started talking about Gilligan's Island and how did they pack so much for a 3-hour tour and everything? Mm-hmm. And at one point, Aunt Peachy says, she goes, "Yeah, don't talk about that. I don't want to talk about that." So, and then I said to her, "We're only about 400 miles off the coast. We could probably dog paddle in." She goes, "No, just stop. The waves, they were rolling. And the ship was just listening. That was Saturday. And that was, but otherwise, that boat was moving. We didn't even know it was moving.
Wouldn't even know.
No, we really didn't. We made a new friend in Bermuda, Wayne, who drives the shuttle. He actually gave us his contact information so that when we go back next year, we can contact him and he could take us around. He even took us around. Remember, he showed us Port Royal Golf Club.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was pretty cool. And I thought he might not like us because we had 6 little kids with us. And there were a couple of meltdowns, but on the shuttles back and forth to the beach, they were out of control.
Yeah.
But
on the way back, especially. Yeah.
In a good
on the way
way.
back, especially. But I think he was probably used to it. He loved it. He's probably used to it. And by the way, the listeners, if you guys are in Bermuda, reach out to us. We'll give you that guy's number. He was awesome. He takes you around, shows you places that the homes, like the $2 million homes, the golf courses, and just a good dude. So,
and I'm not going to lie, it was $7 a person for the shuttle. So every single time he shuttled us, I think it was like 4 or 5 times, I gave him a 20 from me and my wife. So he got a good tip from me. And I know you guys were tipping him. And that helps. But it also, I think it kind of shows a little bit of respect that we valued his time. We valued what a great job he did. Except for your mom. Your mom thought he was a crazy driver, but
Yeah, but she thinks everyone's a crazy driver. It's so car sick.
Geoff, I got stories about your mom that would turn your head. So we'll talk about that off air. But no, Sue, I didn't say it. But
just kidding.
We had such a great time. That was really awesome. And I watched the 2 shows that Mike did. I thought Mike did a great job in our absence. Maybe that's why he's taking off tonight. Maybe he's mad at us.
Yeah, maybe.
he had to work hard, and he's ticked off.
Maybe he thinks he's too good for us now.
You know,
He had such a good show. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to work with these guys anymore.
how funny would it be if later tonight we get a notification that there's a new YouTube channel and Mike's got it going?
He blocks us on all the social media pages.
Exactly. But we do have a few things that we want to talk about. One is the New York Knickerbockers. And Geoff really is our resident Knickerbocker, and well, so is Mike, but obviously he's not here. Geoff, talk to us about how that series ended and what went on.
Yeah, it was definitely disappointing, that's for sure. And I heard a lot of people talking about, is this team, or was this season for this team a win or a failure? And I have a hard time saying it was a failure, even though the ending was disappointing. Finishing 51-31, getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, this is a team that hasn't seen winning since the Ewing days. In fact, it's been chronic losing and complete embarrassing basketball. And they were a few games away from playing in the finals. So, to look at this season as anything else but, I don't want to say a win necessarily, I guess, because they did lose, but a successful season. That's what it was. It was a good season. And,
It was.
some bad games and some duds, from their alleged stars in the playoffs, like Cat, who, you got to start questioning him a little bit, I guess, because there's just these games where he looks so soft. It's a little bit scary to see that. But at the end of the day, they were inches away from a championship opportunity. So, I mean, you really can't be too mad. Like, even as someone who I know you don't like the Knicks,
Right.
I think you would actually agree with that, right? Like, this was still a good season for them.
I think it was a great season for them. And I think it was a great season for their fans. Listen, if you as a fan are not annoyed that you lost to Indiana, then I question what kind of a fan you are. But on the other hand, you could be annoyed that you lost, but you should be proud of what this team accomplished. For sure. Because I'm going to be honest with you, Geoff, and I talked to you about this on the cruise. I don't think they're that great a team.
Yeah.
And I think that a combination of just them playing so hard, and I wasn't a big fan of Tibbs, but I thought he pushed the right buttons at times.
He pushed the right buttons. And I mean, to me, we can jump right into that, right?
Yeah.
Getting rid of Thibodeau. I mean, what are you doing?
What are you?
His record is 226-174 over 5 seasons, right? 4 playoff appearances, Eastern Conference Finals. And this is also a team, Uncle Ted. Let's not forget, they were in ruins before Thibodeau came along.
Yes.
Right? They were the laughing stock, not just of the NBA, but, New York teams in sports in general.
Yeah.
Right. And the Knicks, they got to a point in the playoffs where they haven't been in 3 decades.
That's right.
And the Knicks brass, Uncle Ted, I don't know if you heard this. They were saying, we have an eye on the championship now. It's time to move on. And I respect that mindset, but you're not the Celtics. Right. Your eye should be on what coach can put us in a position to get to a championship, which Thibodeau has done. And he's proven he can do that. And I know the NBA, I get it. It's a premature, trigger finger firing, right? But this was too premature. And I know Johnny Bryant is like the next hot name out there, but like, is he going to be better than Thibodeau? I don't know. I don't think so. But
I don't understand if you're focused on a championship, which, like you said, every team should be. Tell me why Tibbs isn't a part of that, right? And if you want to say that there were things that went on, certain players didn't do this or didn't do that. Well, Leon Rose, you're the one that's got to look in the mirror. You gave Tibbs this team, And if you think that somebody like Johnny Bryan is going to come in and he's going to immediately be a better coach than Tibbs, I don't know about that. He might be like down the road. He might be the man.
He might be, but it's a risky move because I always say this in every sport, right? When you have a coach that gets you to the dance floor every year, you don't get rid of the guy, right? You keep playing the numbers because the odds are, because we've seen it so many times, the next guy you're going to hire is not going to be as good.
Right.
And outside of winning a championship or getting to a championship, you really can't do much better than what Thibodeau did last year.
Right.
But it's also, like I said before, important to recognize where this team was. Like, he didn't take over the Celtics. He took over one of the worst franchises in, recently, I guess you could say, right? Yep. So he brought that team up from the ashes. Then you just get rid of him. And it was I was surprised. I know there were
I
some
was
rumblings.
I was shocked. I wasn't
Shocked.
surprised. I was shocked.
Yeah, because like there were rumblings his job was on the line, but there's rumblings that every coach's job is on the line, right?
Yeah.
But to get rid of him, I mean, listen, you never know. We'll see how the next guy does, whether it's Bryant, Malone,
Yeah.
Van Gundy. I heard today, like that sounds a little ridiculous, but
If they bring Stan Van Gundy in here.
no. Jeff
Oh,
Van Gundy. I
Jeff.
heard today.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I swear to
That
God,
ship is
they
sailed.
want to bring. Well, they don't. I don't want to say they, but I've heard the rumors, which could be anybody.
Oh,
But I heard his name. I'm like, if you're gonna hire Jeff Van Gundy, then
I did
come
hear
on.
some people throwing out the name Jay Wright
Yeah, I heard that
because
too.
of all the Villanova stuff. And then I forget who it was on ESPN who knows. Oh, maybe it was Jay Billis. Jay Billis says there's a better chance of me being the next coach than Jay
Yeah.
Wright. Jay Wright wants no part of this.
Yeah, or the UConn guy.
Danny Hurley.
That's your guy.
Yeah,
Your
exactly.
boy.
My boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting. And more to come. We're going to see what happens with that. So the other thing is, while we were on the cruise, we were trying to do our best to keep up with the Yankees and the Mets. And I mean, right now, I think both of them are playing really great baseball. I think the Mets, the Mets just finished up a 4-game series with the Dodgers, arguably the best team in the NL.
Mhm.
We split with them, and quite honestly, we should have swept them, and we didn't. But we split with them. We took 4 out of 7 from them over the season, and I'm happy where we are. We're getting some injured people back, and I don't know. I don't need to go too deep into them. I think they're doing a good job. But
There's not much to go over with the Mets.
there really isn't.
There's more to go over with the Yankees because there's some injuries now we're dealing with. The Mets are kind of just doing their thing.
Yeah.
There really isn't that much variables besides Lindor. I saw was on the bench today, right?
Well, he got hit with a pitch last night. First or second pitch of the game.
Okay.
He broke his pinky toe,
Mm.
but he played the whole game. They made him take off today, and they were saying in the clubhouse he was screaming he wanted to play. But they gave him the day off, so he's going to be back in the lineup. And Pete Alonso has like 55 or 66 RBIs already,
Yeah.
and he's just, God bless Pete. I want to see him at first base for the next 3 or 4 years. I don't know if it's going to happen, but wherever
It's got to
he goes,
happen.
it has to happen. I mean, it has to.
If for any other reason, this is your homegrown guy. The Mets really don't have many of those. Or if you look at their history, David Wright was homegrown,
Yeah,
right?
was.
And who else? I know I'm missing somebody big. But
we had David Wright. We had Jose Reyes.
Yeah, Reyes.
We had Edgardo Alfonso.
Yeah. So there's some names there, but it hasn't.
Still.
We haven't seen it recently, and Alonso just looks like a Met. I know that sounds weird, but the name he just has Met on him, right?
Yeah.
And he's playing great, and it's great to see too because I like Pete. Pete's a fun. He's easy to root for. He could be a doofus sometimes, like with the frat boy stuff, but he's having fun. Like I like that. Like I think players should do that to make the dugout more comfortable.
Yeah.
But to watch, I think he's batting 298, like you said, 50, 55 RBIs.
Yeah,
had that little slump.
Yeah, he's got like I think he's got like 14. I think it's like 14 home runs and 55 RBI. So I mean, I'm just like, I love the guy. I mean, and again, I don't know how you don't love that guy. He's just so good. Oh, he's got 15 home runs, 55 RBIs, and he's batting 298. You'd sign up for that every day of the week.
Every day. And that's why with the Mets, it's like there's really not that much to go over because they're just being consistent this year.
Yeah.
They haven't had these, awful dips yet. A couple bad games, but every team has bad games.
And Soto's starting to hit.
Soto's starting to hit, which you guys, you're going to need him. Because I think the Mets have to have championship on their mind.
Yeah.
You're going to need Soto in those spots, period.
Yeah.
Especially the big game player that he is, that we've seen in New York. We know he can handle it. And he looks like he's having a little more fun, too. I don't know if you noticed that.
I was just going to say that. He was doing some dance in the dugout last night with a couple of the guys. So
he was playing flip cup with like the water bottle. Like
that's right.
And again, like people call that goofy. I'm like, that's what Soto is. Like you don't want him to be too serious.
No.
You know what I mean? Like Derek Jeter was super serious, right?
Yes.
Like that's just how he was.
Yeah.
But with Soto, he's a prankster. You want to see him comfortable and loose. So maybe him hitting and starting to, feel the contact on the ball more now. He's starting to loosen up a little bit. So if you're a Met fan, that's exactly what you want to see.
Yeah. Now, what about the Yankees? I mean, honestly, I don't know if there's too much about the Yankees because they're also playing lights out. I mean, they're playing really great.
So far, so good. They lost yesterday, but that's fine. They're going to win the series.
They're
But
gonna lose
so
games.
far, yeah. I mean, listen, 5.5 games ahead of the Rays,
Yeah.
7-3, and every time I look at the last 10, it's like 6-4 or 7-3. They're very consistent in terms of the winning.
Yep.
We did lose Luke Weaver for 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So Devin Williams is going to have another opportunity to close. And I think it's actually, Uncle Ted, a perfect time for Devin Williams to come in and give it another shot because the Yankees have a nice cushion right now.
Yes.
Right. So there's not going to be this like massive pressure on Williams like there was in opening day where it was the first game. We saw him a little shaky. So I think for Williams, this is actually a perfect opportunity for him to come in and, just get used to that role. And I still want Weaver to be the closer because we've seen him in New York do it in big spots. Yeah,
when he
will
comes
be.
back, he'll move right back into that role.
But it's good to have that insurance policy in, it's kind of crazy what he's getting paid, the insurance policy, but that's what he is as the closer. I mean, it's going to be Luke Weaver. But yeah, you're right, Uncle Ted. I mean, the Yankees, not much to go over. I'll tell you this. I think that this team is better than last year. Right now they have three. Yeah, they got 3 players in double-digit home runs.
Yeah.
And Judge, Rice, and Grissom. Judge is batting like 400 still, which is
crazy.
Nuts.
It really is.
How about Goldschmidt? Goldschmidt's been phenomenal this year. That's been a surprisingly great pickup by the Yankees.
He was only signed to a 1-year deal, right?
I think it was 1 year. Yeah,
so
I'll go back and check that, but I think it was 1 year.
Full advantage because I don't think he's the kind of guy you're going to come back and say, okay, we're going to give you a 3-year deal for $75 million.
No.
I think whatever he does, somebody else is going to make that mistake.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. He's going to be the 1-year guy, which is fine. I mean, as long as if they can win a championship or even get there again, and he's part of that, then it was a success. But listen, the Yankees have also 5 players that are hovering around like 260 batting average, which is fine when you have 2 guys in the lineup that are having like MVP caliber batting average seasons. I got to bring up my boy Carlos Rodon.
Do it. Listen, you're a big Rodon guy, and listen. He's vindicating you all over the place.
You know what? He's 8-3. I think he's probably the most unfairly criticized Yankee I've ever seen. I'm not kidding. And there's been some ones. A-Rod got. I would say fairly though.
He brought a lot of it on himself, though. Rodon.
Rodon did. Well, in what way? You mean like the way he behaves on the mound, like the antics,
the stupid things? He apparently, I know he said some stupid things. After games, stuff about the fans, when he first I think he did last year. I'm going to have to look that up and bring that up for the next show. But he said some dumb things. And I think that's what people got ticked off about. But listen, hey, you can't hold on to that if you're a fan because this guy's doing the deed for you right now.
He is. And along with Max Fried, who the Cy Young is pretty much, that's where the road's going, right? I mean, unless he gets hurt, God forbid.
Yeah. It's funny when you were talking about Devin Williams, and I kind of believe sometimes, like when a coach or a manager says to a player, especially like a Devin Williams, listen, just relax, just pitch. You're a great pitcher. We have the utmost confidence in you. Just do it. It reminds me of when I was, had to be 20 years ago. I was playing softball. We were in this league, and we were like a game out of the playoffs, and guys pitching for us. It was slow pitch. And all of a sudden, he's getting lit the hell up. And we had like an 8-0 lead. And all of a sudden, it's like 8-6. 2 guys are on base, 2 outs. And I call timeout. And I was playing second base. And me and the shortstop walk in. And we walk up to him. And the pitcher says, I got this. You can go back to your positions. I said, listen. And I take the ball. I'm rubbing it up, like Jeter would do. And I go, listen, we know you are the guy. I just came here to have a breather and let you know we all believe in you. We're making the playoffs, and it's because of you. And I give him the ball, and as we're walking back to our positions, the shortstop says to me, really? I said, no, one more hit, he's out of here. And I think that's what a lot of guys do, They do that, and then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, one more hit, I'm getting somebody up at the bullpen.
Yeah. But with Devin Williams, I think this is the perfect time for him to come in. Again, like I said, 5.5 games in the lead. He can afford a bad game or two, and having that on his
Correct.
mind. Not that that's on his mind. I mean, the guy's a competitor, but having that comfort level of knowing, it's not the playoffs. You're 5 games ahead, five and a
Yeah.
half games. It's all good, man. Go out there and do what you do.
Have
So
fun.
hopefully, and he's been playing better.
Yes.
So I
He
think it's a
has.
good. The Weaver, an injury is never a good time, but the Weaver injury came probably at the perfect time, quite frankly, to get Devin Williams back on stride.
Yeah, you wouldn't have wanted it to come in like August or something like that,
No.
because even with a 5-game lead in August, you're like, I don't.
Oh yeah, listen,
Yeah,
I wouldn't want it to happen now if the Yankees had like a 1-game lead,
right.
because we want to keep that for as long as we can.
Yeah, but
But listen, the Mets and Yankees are on right now, Uncle Ted, and that's all we can ask for. They're both in
yeah.
first place. They're both making the playoffs. I'd be shocked unless something catastrophic
Oh,
happens to one of these teams.
I'd be
But
shocked,
they're
completely
both
shocked.
loaded. Like,
Yeah,
they have talent. They
yeah,
really do. They got guys everywhere that can
me
get a
too.
big hit.
It's
And their
true.
pitching is good. Your
Yep,
pitching is great.
our pitching's
So
been really good,
there's
but
really nothing to complain about with the Mets and Yankees. That's for
it's
sure.
it's funny when the Mets were in their real doldrums. I always said I just want them to be competitive until the Jets training camp opens. So now it looks like maybe I'll have training camp and I'll have a competitive Mets team. So that'll be pretty good
Yeah,
to.
you also got Aaron Rodgers week 1. How about that?
I cannot wait.
You're the first person I thought of, because you're like, you want to just not hurt him, but you want to just beat the crap out of him.
I
Beat
want
the living crap out of him.
I want Jermaine Johnson and I want Quinnen Williams to wrap him up, drive him to the ground, and just whisper to him, "This is why you should have just stayed home."
Listen, I'm nervous for the Jets because Rodgers is pissed. And this is a guy you don't want pissed, because he plays better when he's angry, when he's got something to prove. Now, again, it was 1 game, so it's not like it's that big of a deal. But that week 1, I'm going to be honest, I'm not trying to put the whammy on it. I think Rodgers lights you guys up. I do, because he's not hurt. He's not banged up. He's going in fresh.
Sure.
He hates the Jets right now because of how he says he was treated. We don't know the full landscape of it. But I'm not saying the Jets are going to lose.
No,
But I think Rodgers is going to light him up. I think
Couple of-
it's a great game.
couple of things. Number one, the Pittsburgh offensive line is not great. Okay.
Yep.
The Pittsburgh running game, Najee Harris is gone. They traded for his name is like off my head now, the receiver from Seattle that went out there, DJ Metcalf.
Yeah,
They
Metcalf.
have him. Okay.
Yep.
But I will say this. Last year with the Jets, from what everybody said, there were so many plays called to go downfield, and he bailed out. Okay. He is not going to light us up by bailing out and going to rookie running backs and Pat Freiermuth. And if he thinks that the Jets' offensive line was a little weak, he better have his little tap shoes on because he's going to have to be moving.
Yeah.
Because the one thing about the Jets' defensive line, they're very fast. They get to the quarterback, and now you throw Jermaine Johnson back in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, could he do that? Yeah. Do I care that he's pissed? I really don't care. I loved him coming to the Jets. I am now completely, like everybody said I would, I'm completely sick and tired of him. Sick and tired of him. And when he starts doing all the crap he's doing, then we're going to have to listen to one of the greatest coaches of all time, Mike Tomlin, going like this. I told him, do what you want to do. I don't care. That's a terrible imitation of him, but I love the guy to death. And
he's awesome.
I feel bad that he is now going to be saddled with this guy.
Well, I think he's going to be able to put, some strict policies in place for Rodgers where he's going to have to live. I know it's Rodgers. I get it. I know. I know. I see the face. But I think Rodgers wants to win his last year. And I think he knows. He's not dumb. Like, he knows he can't go in there and just run the show. He knows Mike Tomlin is a hard-headed coach. And I mean that in a good way. To where he's old school. He's not going to take the Rodgers nonsense of going to Costa Rica when he should be at practice. That stuff is not going to fly under Tomlin.
Right.
And again, Rodgers, who is a pain in the ass, right? He gets very sensitive, even though he pretends he doesn't. He's a smart guy. He knows where he's going right now. And if he thought he was going to go in to just run the show, he wouldn't have went to the Steelers. He would have went to maybe Minnesota, New Orleans with a new coach. So I think the guy wants to win. And I think it's a good move by the Steelers because right now
They had no choice.
they got no
No
choice, and
choice.
it's a good move because now it's really no risk, right? It's kind of like the Giants with the Russell Wilson deal.
Mhm.
If it works out, awesome. If it doesn't, I really don't care one way or the other. And I think the Steeler fan probably feels the same way, right? It's a 1-year deal,
Yeah.
allegedly.
Mhm.
And the 1-year deals, even if it's for 90 million, there's no risk except
Right.
financially, right?
Yeah.
But it's a good move, and
I
we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Here's what I wanna hear at the end of the game when we've completely beaten him up. I want the stadium just to play the Hulk walking away music. Da-da-da-da, just to remind him. That's
You
what
think
I
he gets
want.
booed?
Um, I would not boo him if I was there. I would not. I'm not a booer to begin with,
Yeah,
but I would not boo him because he came here and I believe he did his best. But I do also believe that, except for certain instances, I think he's just about at the end. I think that,
yeah,
he's just, it's not like Brady.
yeah.
Brady, right? I think Brady right now could come out of the broadcast booth and go throw a football and be a winner.
Yeah,
I
it's that
really do.
TB12 avocado and strawberry diet he's on.
Exactly. I'm
But
I'm I'm on a diet similar to that. It's like milkshakes and White
yeah,
Castle.
strawberry and avocado milkshakes and ice
Milkshake.
cream. But
But
listen,
yeah,
he's definitely at the end. I mean, there's
he's
no doubt about it. But
he
that's
is.
why he got 1 year, and not 3,
Right.
which is just about right for him. It's
Yeah.
one of these things where he showed some things last year. 28 touchdowns didn't happen by accident. But you watched every game and you knew there were things you didn't like, and I get it. I saw the
Yeah.
same things. But that's why, listen, it's like if you're Tomlin, why not? Right? It's not
Yeah.
like he's pumped to have Rodgers, but he's like, let's just do it. Let's
Exactly.
give it a shot, see what happens, and
Next
yeah, man, we'll see how it plays out.
next week, let's do a show just completely dedicated to um like pre-training camp football.
Yes.
We'll talk about that
Yep.
because, like, listen, that I mean, we could talk about football 12 months a year. So,
I know. Yep.
We got an email from a fan. Will, you got it, right? Or I think we both got it,
Yeah, I think
actually.
it went to the Pathetic
Yeah.
the
So,
podcast
do you
Gmail.
have it there? If
Um,
you have it.
yeah, I think I do. I think you screenshotted it to the group, right?
I'm not sure.
But I know it was he sent a few things, but
Yeah.
we'll go over one of them and then we'll do another one maybe next week. Let me take a look if it's in here. Yeah, I don't see the screenshot. You have access to
Oh,
the
here it
email
is.
though.
I
You
have
got
it.
it? Okay.
Okay, so let's see. Gotta put my glasses on for this one. So he said, Ted, Jeff, and Mikey, big fan of the pod so far. I'm gonna go with 5-12 for the Giants, 6-11 for the Jets. 2 future topics I'd like to hear discussed on the pod. Top 5 sports moments of your life as a sports fan. If I had to guess everyone's number one, I would say Uncle Ted was 86 Mets, Jeff was 2007 Super Bowl, and Mikey is the 1996 Yankees World Series win. Also, top 5 hated teams of all time. Once again, if I had to guess, I would say Ted, it's between the Yankees, Rangers, or Dolphins. Jeff is an easy one. It's the Eagles or the Cowboys. And Mikey, it's going to be the Boston Red Sox. And lastly, Ted, can you explain to the listeners why the XL soda from White Castle is so dangerous?
Yeah,
All right,
that's good. I got to hear that one.
all right,
We'll do the hated teams. I like
let's
that.
do
We'll
the
do the
hated teams, and then next week we'll address the other ones.
Okay.
We just got a text from Mikey.
I hear my
Mikey,
phone going off. Is that him?
Mikey is with Ted Smallwood, Jetman, at dinner. So I told him, no worries. We are doing the show acting like you were kidnapped. Okay, so there we go.
All right, so we'll
let's
do
go.
top. We'll do top 3.
Top
3 hated sports teams.
sports teams.
All right.
If you're ready, you go.
I'll fire away. This is the easiest list of all time.
Absolutely.
Not even. And by the way, this list can go longer.
Yeah.
My number 3, I think I don't think you should be too surprised at this, but
wait, hold on. I want you to get there. Of 100%, I want you to give me a percentage of hate.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a good one.
So your number 3 is going to be the lowest percentage one.
Okay.
Okay.
So 100% meaning hated the most.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So number 3 is the Houston Astros. And I'm going to put them not a very high percentage. I would say 50%.
50?
Yeah, 50.
That's pretty high.
Is it? 'Cause I'm trying to figure out how to do the,
all right,
the
so wait a minute.
scale. I think 1 through 10 might be easier.
All right. Give me a number 1 through 10. Give me that.
I'm going to say 4.
Like kind of right in the middle of being
Around,
hated.
yeah, so I guess it's kind of the same.
Right.
And the reason why is the cheating, period, end of
Yeah,
story.
of course.
Right,
Yeah.
and Altuve being wired up like he was a government witness, all right, getting, messages and hitting the garbage can and, robbing Judge of the MVP because he's a cheat. Judge should have had that MVP.
Yeah.
I just can't stand that team. And they owned the Yankees for a little while.
Yeah, they did.
So the Astros are coming in at number 3.
Okay.
Number 2 and 1 should be pretty obvious for you guys. It's just what order to put these two teams in, right? So you know it's the Cowboys and the Eagles. If you had to guess, what do you think the order is?
I would think your most hated one is the Eagles.
No doubt about it.
Right.
Cowboys coming in at number 2. That's out of 10. I'm going to go 9. The fans are just front runners from the 90s.
Yeah.
Let's call it like it is. And I know some good Cowboy fans. I don't want to insult them as people, but as fans, you guys are clowns. That's just the reality. Like, explain to me how somebody from New Jersey or New York or anywhere outside of Texas, for that matter, can be a Cowboys fan. It's because they were good during the Aikman-Smith years. So to me, that is the definition of front running. And I just don't like Jerry Jones and just don't like the team for obvious reasons. Number 1 is the Philadelphia Garbage Eagles. And it's again, same thing with the Cowboys. It's the fan base, right? Because I actually have respect for the team.
Yes.
And the players that came through there over the years. Go down the list. Donovan McNabb, even Deshaun Jackson, now Jalen Hurts. Like, they always have good players, but you can't bring the kids to that stadium, right?
No.
The police have to grease the poles in case they win.
Right.
Not lose. In case they win, they have to grease the poles so the city doesn't get burned to the ground.
Yeah.
Just an awful fan base. And obviously Giants, Eagles. So, yeah, it's the Astros, the Cowboys, and the Eagles. And I'm going to do an honorary mention for you, Uncle Ted. You're not going to like this one.
Oh.
The 2011 New York Jets. And you know exactly why.
Yes.
I couldn't stand Rex Ryan.
Yeah.
Covering the trophies, the trash talk. He almost had a fist fight with Brandon Jacobs, which would not have been a good idea.
Yeah.
And just because I don't hate the Jets, you know that.
I know.
That team, because of Rex, which then kind of leaked into the players talking crap.
Right.
They were just gnawing at us, at the Giants. And then it led to what it led to. But yeah, my honorary mention is the 2011 Jets. Can't stand them.
Can't stand you.
Can't stand you.
Well, mine is, it is pretty easy. Will did have the Yankees on my list. I do not have the Yankees on my list. Okay. My honorary mention will be Yankee fans. I don't hate the Yankees. And again, I'm going to preface it by also saying I know a lot of Yankee fans that are awesome people. I mean, you, Mikey, a lot of my friends, Smallwood, great guys. But Smallwood is a tool because Smallwood, every single time Soto has an issue, I get texts, I get tweets, I get this and that. And
there's subtle jabs, right?
Yeah,
they're like,
exactly.
Ouch.
But
I like that.
But if I was to pick my top 3 most hated teams, I would say, 25%, I would say, probably the Patriots. Hate the Patriots. I mean, while Bill Belichick was there and TB12 was there and all, I really hated them. But I just hate them. I don't like them, but not as much as my number 2 team, which is the Dolphins. I have hated the Dolphins for years. A fan base that they don't win crap and they do more talking.
They do.
Than anybody. You win some playoff games. Listen, you can't say
I noticed
the Jets
the old
we
school
don't
Jet
talk
fans
right
are the
now.
ones.
We know we've lost and we've been losing, but Dolphins and number 1, far and away, not even close. I mean, here's the team I hate the most, and down here is like the Dolphins and the Patriots, and it's the New York Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a combination of the team, the fans. I'm sick of hearing about the Garden. Oh, Madison Square Garden. Like with the Knicks, it became so easy for me to go back from really liking them against Boston to hating them against against Indiana, because I've got to look at Timothy Chalamet in the first row, and Ben Stiller all of a sudden for a week was a guest on all the New York sports shows. I couldn't give a crap what Ben Stiller thought about basketball. And you're going to have Ben Stiller on. Why don't you just pick a homeless guy off the street who probably knows as much?
I can't
Enough.
stand the celebrity row.
Oh,
Because
so annoying.
now I don't mind Spike Lee, because Spike Lee is a legit
Nick fan. He's probably spent $8 million in his life on Nick tickets home and away. But
And
again,
but you know what?
same guy,
they're
big game. He's at the Met Gala Awards, though. I'll give you, all right, come on now. Come on.
I know. But one thing about Spike, when they're 10-30, he still shows up. Ben Stiller is not showing up at their 10-30.
No, not
Timothy
at all.
Chalamet, whatever his name is, he's
Chalamet.
not showing up when they're 10-30. Spike Lee is, so I'll give him that.
But the New York Rangers, I hate them so much. Like, I mean, I can't even root for them when it's a situation where a win against whoever they're playing would help the Devils. I can't even root for them. It goes against everything in my brain. And I've been told by so many people, oh, let it go. Let it go. It's been a long time. And I'll tell the story one of these days. I'm not in the mood to tell the story tonight, but the story that got me to hate them. And it's a great story, but I'll tell you right now, it's the Rangers by far. And now I'm all worked up.
I noticed that.
You're
sweating over there.
They just get me. They just get me.
They always did. They always did for you. And the Dolphins always got you too. I noticed with the older school Jet fans, the Dolphins are number one on their list. Like I know there's a rivalry there, but I don't see the hatred. Like I always saw the hatred growing up with the Patriots, because the Patriots were so great. The Dolphins stunk my whole life, pretty much.
Here's why. Don Shula. And in 1983, the Jets were going to play the Dolphins in the AFC Championship game in Miami. Jets had an unbelievable running game. Okay. Freeman, McNeil. They had just a great running game, great offensive line. They were a really good team. And they did not cover the field because they knew there were going to be torrential rains in Miami all day Friday and Saturday. So they didn't cover the field. And when the Jets got there on Saturday, the field was a quagmire. And then they called the NFL, and the NFL said, oh, the field should have been covered. So they covered the field after the rain stopped. And on Sunday, AFC Championship Day, they couldn't run. The Jets wound up losing 14-0. AJ Dewey had, I think, 2 interceptions, 1 run back for a touchdown. And from that day forward, I always wished that Shula would step off a curb and get hit by a bus, and that team would never win again.
Yeah.
And that, as a Jet fan, but the Rangers are by far and away number one. Far and away. So I hope everybody's calm now. Let's calm down a little bit. Let's relax.
Thanks a lot, Will.
Thanks.
That's my cousin, by the way.
You got me going.
You got us all heated up. You got us all fired up right now.
You got me really fired up. We'll talk about your other stuff next week. Maybe we'll do a separate podcast on that one. But Geoff, you have some UFC picks.
I do. And this is a great card, guys, by the way. We got Sean O'Malley versus Merab. It's a rematch. And a bunch of good fights on the card. So we're going to do a couple. Let me see what we're going to do. I don't want to put the kibosh on it, because every time I do 3 parlays or 3-legged parlays, we're losing. But there's 3 fights I like on this card. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. So first one we're gonna do another funny name. Patchy Mix.
Oh, Patchy Mix.
Your boy, Patchy Mix.
That's my boy right there.
Patchy Mix over Mario Batista. So Patchy Mix, this is his first fight in the UFC. He's coming from another organization. And usually when guys come
Yeah,
from other
California penal colony.
Yeah, exactly. Usually when guys come from another organization, there's a reason for it, right? Like the UFC wants him for a reason.
Yeah.
So I think he's favored, actually. I didn't have the odds here, but I think he's like a minus 120. So
Patchy.
going to be Patchy Mix over Batista.
Okay.
The next two are pretty big favorites. We have Joe Pyfer over Kelvin Gastelum. So Kelvin Gastelum has been around for a long time. He was on the Ultimate Fighter back in, I think, 2014 or 2015.
Oh, wow. That's a long
Yeah,
time ago.
it's especially in the fight game. Usually it's only, a few years where you're at your prime.
Yeah.
Joe Piper's a heavy hitter, hits really hard. So I'm going to go Joe Pyfer over Gastelum. And then finally, I always do the main event.
Yes.
We're going to do Merab Davishvili over Sean O'Malley. This is actually a rematch. They fought with him the last year, and Merab beat him like 5 rounds to 0, destroyed him. And they got a rematch here, so I'm going to go Merab winning the same way. And I'm really comfortable with this parlay too, guys. So it's a Patchy Mix, Joe Pyfer, and Merab Davishvili. Geoff's UFC picks for UFC 314.
If you bet 10 pretzel goldfish on that, you would win $26.28. Patchy Mix is minus 185. Joe Pfeiffer is minus 380. And Merab is minus 285.
Okay. So this is more of a safe one.
But that's okay. Money's money. I mean, goldfish are goldfish.
Goldfish are goldfish.
Goldfish are goldfish. Well, listen, I got to tell you, I do feel a little guilty about not doing the show with Mike. But I also lose that feeling when he tells me that he's out having dinner with Smallwood and he kind of just forgot about us and blew us off. We know where we stand now, But we'll be back next week. Mike will be back next week, and we're going to talk a little bit more about football. Let's address another one of Will's what he would like to see on the next pod. Make sure we write down his records for the Jets and Giants because we're starting to get people to reach out to us to give us our records. And Geoff, this was fun, even though we did not have Mikey. Let's have a great weekend, and we'll come back next week and we'll hit it hard.
All right, take care, guys.
Take care, guys. Like and subscribe. We could use it.